We know Dillon Brooks' history. We know his history of trying to poke bears. What's ended up happening in the aftermath of doing so. How worried should Rockets fans be about the antics of Dillon Brooks, especially this team 2 in the West right now, getting ready to make the playoffs for the first time in a few years?
People idolize Draymond. Nigga was like, I want to be like mine. Kicking niggas, he just out there kicking niggas, man. Shit.
I think seriously, if you're a Rockets fan, this shouldn't bother you at all. You knew this is what he was bringing to your team, and now y'all second in the West. You think you second in the West without Dillon Brooks? You think you second in the West without this guy bringing that kind of grit to this team? It was a bunch of young guys. It was a bunch of young guys who ain't really accomplished nothing, ain't did nothing, and he's gonna pick up the hardest defensive assignment every single night. So if that comes with kicking niggas in the stomach, sometimes you gotta kick niggas in the stomach. Nigga, this is just what it is. What are you talking about?
This is what y'all signed up for.
This is what you signed up for. You gave, and then they give him like,
yeah, when he was grinding
like
it,
that.
in the grind on
Yeah.
Is it? Like I don't
He wasn't this guy in Memphis? What are you talking about?
Like I don't consider him like when you think of him, you think of the antics, but he's not dirty.
No.
Like, you know, like, these are like one-offs.
Yeah.
Like, this is not like Bruce Bowen was way dirtier than him.
Right.
Hey, from a fan perspective, that shit is enjoyable to watch. I'm gonna keep it. If Dillon Brooks is playing, that game is gonna be entertaining.
Like even somebody like Isaiah Stewart, he's not a dirty player. It's just once he gets mad, then you got to watch out.
Yeah.
But for the most part, those type of players, they just play basketball and try to do the best of their ability.
Aggressive is probably the best way to describe it.
Nah, that's not aggressive. You see him doing this?
Dennis Rodman.
And when he was guarding Bron?
Yeah.
This week, yo.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you, Dillon Brooks is a guy I would always want on my team. So maybe that's why I give him the pass. And I don't feel like he's dirty.
That's what I was about to say.
He don't hit play. You don't know him the flagrant foul and stuff. And
he's just funny.
Like it's just like if you're tangled up with him, he's gonna hold his ground and do all that stuff. But he's not gonna clip you. He ain't gonna do all that.
I'm a
the KD thing on Sunday.
Yeah. I'm a huge Chris Paul guy. Way dirtier than Dillon Brooks.
Yeah, for facts.
Way dirtier. And he don't have the reputation that Dillon Brooks has.
True.
And there's a lot of niggas who will tell you he purposely hit me in the nuts. Like over the years. Yeah. And even then, it doesn't change my opinion of Chris Paul. So this doesn't change my opinion of Dillon Brooks. Everybody needs one of those guys. You know?
You can't put them two in the same category.
No.
Out loud with it.
I know, but that's what I said. But Dillon Brooks he's out loud, but don't do the things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Chris Paul is more respected.
Yeah, and he is just outright.
He respected
dropping people.
The world. But
no, that's what. Yeah, that's what I said. Like,
you weren't here yet. They,
like even like the Isaiah, he got the 2 games. Yeah, he got the 2 games. He didn't even start the fight.
Yeah,
because of the name and the aggression. So when people hear your name, they think, oh shit, he didn't even start the fight. It's like, these 3 people started this fight and I get the most games. That's some bullshit.
I'm gonna tell you the crazy part. If you say that there was a fight that happened, you was like, this person was in it, this person was in it, Isaiah Stewart was in it, you was like, oh, he started it.
Yeah.
That's where your brain goes.
Or he ended it.
Yeah.
Or he ended it.
Yeah, so that's...
It definitely don't surprise you he was involved.
Yeah.
If it's Pistons got into a fight, all right, let me guess.
Yeah.
Like when people fight, you start looking for him, like, oh shit, where that?
That is messed up. You just say the franchise name, you do go, it was probably
Brooks.
Isaiah.
But you go Brooks too, though.
Yeah. But that's what we're saying. These reputations precede them.
A great instigator, though. Obviously,
he's an instigator. Yeah,
but he had the situation with LeBron. I think caught a lot of heat for that. A lot of Grizzlies fans probably blamed him for the Lakers winning that series, but that shit was comical.
Yeah.
It's consistent. And we can see, I think your point was, he kind of toned it down a little bit there, where just keep it going. If that's who you are, then be who you are. Don't switch up.
I mean, to be honest, nobody knew who he was before, like just worldwide, before he started poking LeBron. Yeah. Then you start looking at him and be like, oh, he's functional.
Yeah.
Like he's a functional basketball player. He's actually an attribute to a team.
Yeah.
He just is not out there just being dumb. Like, I think he's averaging the most points this year. Like, he's really actually balling.
Yeah, he's doing very well.
Yeah, no, that man can.
He's worth his. That's what he's worth his money.
That man can shoot, and he
Whoa,
plays.
whoa, come on, man.
No.
Damn,
He can.
man.
See, this is the problem. This is the problem. You two niggas can really shoot.
No,
so
bro.
that's where y'all go with that. But Dillon Brooks is a feasible 3-point option.
Yeah,
You
now,
can't just leave him.
Shooting
all
39%
day.
from the field this season.
No, I mean, but
What is he shooting from 3?
39% is what I'm saying.
Yeah, 39. He
43% from the field.
Thank you. See that?
but I watched him in warm-ups.
Yeah.
He had on boots, booty shorts, and he was out there shooting threes, and he went like 0 for 17. I'm like, how do you do that in warm-up? Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I'm just.
But he's
boots
almost
and booty
40%.
shorts.
He had on some,
He's almost 40% in the game.
Yeah, no, but it was just, I was just looking at him just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But
I was more concerned about like, you got booty shorts and boots on,
That's her.
in public.
yeah, career high 39% this year. But he brought.
looking at his booty cheeks.
I wasn't looking at the boot. I'm just,
What,
I
the
just,
boots? What was
like I
boots
thought,
that
I thought it was the
caught
Sparks. I thought it was the Sparks about to
okay.
play.
Oh, my
God, man,
God.
this is crazy. This is the outfit you coming up with, man.
But Dillon Brooks brought a level of toughness to those Grizzly squads. Also, I think highest he averaged like 18 points per game when he was in Memphis, averaging 14 points this season. But let's just talk about the identity and culture shift going on in Houston right now. So Rockets changed their identity since Ime Udoka became head coach 2023, along with Dillon Brooks joining the squad that same season. So they ran a graphic during the Suns game with what the Rockets are doing since the 23-24 season. Lead the league in disqualifications, ejections, player techs, and head coaching techs since 2023.
Now show what their overall record was before 2023.
No. When do? Okay,
So
this
this
last year.
is, so since last season when Ime Udoka coming over, Dillon Brooks coming over. So Rockets have won 13 of their last 15 games, 50-27 this season, second in the West, 3-game lead over the Lakers and Nuggets. Gonna make their first playoff appearance since 2020. Have a solid young core, Jalen Green and Şengün. 11th rated offense in the league, 4th rated defense. So we talk all the time about if they're for real or fugazi being in this 2 spot.
Man, this is crazy. Because if you would have just said, you would have put this all on Detroit.
If you'd have wouldn't have put a team to
If
it.
you wouldn't have put a team, you would have thought disqualifications, like that would have been, you would think Detroit, like this team, like
Most coach techs, most player techs.
who the fuck is getting, like think about who
Yeah.
the fuck is getting texts over there? Everybody seems quiet.
we seen Ime get into
Come on,
it.
I'm besides
Yeah,
him.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, but when I'm talking about players, for the most part, besides Brooks, who the fuck else is getting?
But think about it. Who gets texts nowadays like that? You don't see a lot of that type of stuff in this era of basketball. Besides, Brooks and
They got 99 in 2 seasons.
No, 9 and damn.
Dillon Brooks got 16 this year.
Yeah.
This year,
This year alone.
They need that though.
they do.
Need that.
I mean,
man.
the coach got. I know the coach got.
23 in the last
23,
2
maybe
years.
more.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, man. At the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like that team isn't there without a Dillon Brooks because they don't have another guy. They're not gritty enough without him.
I think Dillon Brooks, 32 of those texts, which are now, I believe, at 100, maybe a little bit more. That graphic was ran Sunday. He got another tech, picked up his 16th one. I'm just saying, nearly a third of the texts they've gotten the last 2 years.
That shows.
I'm trying to. I got it now. I got to really pay attention. What is this text for? It like.
Him, he just
He got
talks.
2 for.
He talks too much. He probably says something that he shouldn't, that they feel like he shouldn't say, but he's not like throwing players to the floor. He's not, kicking niggas all the time.
Was he kicked out after that, or just?
Not tech. He just gave him a tech.
Cause what's the name?
But he gets a 1-game suspension trigger because that was his 16th.
Like like Ron Artest, right? I asked the ref about Ron Artest, and it was like I've never given Ron Artest a technical for saying anything. He doesn't talk.
Yeah.
He just fucks people up.
Yeah.
Right? He just fucks people up. He don't say nothing, right? So he gonna raise his hand, do all that. So
Yeah.
aggression comes in different ways, I guess.
Yeah, like Sheed used to get them all the time.
His were funny, though.
Yeah. But it was a lot of talking that had to
Yeah.
do with it,
Talking and looking.
Just staring.
Yeah. So,
Whop! One of my favorite texts in history, but in all sincerity, I think a lot of people don't respect this Rocket squad going into the
I don't.
playoffs.
I don't.
I respect Şengün and then they lose, amen, and then they lose me after that. I don't trust nobody else. I trust Dillon Brooks, but I trust Dillon Brooks to be Dillon Brooks. You know, poke the bear and then give up the game-winning shot.
Yeah.
It's my guy, though.
Yeah, I
just don't trust
just age right now. I just don't trust it.
So for this season, but
No.
when you look at the future of this Rocket squad, though,
they're gonna like before they make any changes, they need to really look at their roster and look at what pieces actually matter to the growth. Because you can change one piece that you do not think is important, and that fucks up everything. That one piece that holds the bridge together. We don't need this screw. And that's the screw that you actually needed to make it all function.
Yeah.
So, you know, there has to be, when they go into free agency or just the summer, they need to really look at their team because they have a whole bunch of good pieces. And you pull the wrong ones trying to get somebody else in, that shit's gonna crumble.
They have a lot of players, though.
I know.
They have like 11 guys.
Yes.
That's a lot of guys. That's a lot of guys. You could use that, and they still got, you know, some draft pick value.
I think they got to figure out who's they person down the line, like that's gonna hit the game. Who they gonna put the ball in their hand to make a game-winning shot?
I mean, you don't. They don't
take
need.
over.
They don't.
Cause
You
you
need
can't
that,
have
but-
somebody like, oh, he's hot tonight. Give it to him. That's
That's what I said.
I think they can do it by committee the way the Spurs did it sometimes in the past. You know what I mean? You have enough guys you trust, and you trust the system. You trust these guys to. Now, I see why you're making the face, Nick, because a lot of teams don't have that, but a lot of teams aren't 11 deep. And that's what I'm saying. It's just like
out of them 11, who they gonna give it to?
No, it don't matter. It ain't about who's gonna give it to, because right now you do have a bunch of pieces that all do the same thing. Right? You know, Jalen Green is turning into, you know, one of those really good go-to guys, but he still need to clean up, you know, some of his game. Sangoon is still trying to figure out how to be the Jokic type. Right? So just with them two alone, then you got Amen. This man's ceiling is crazy. You know, because him, Dillon Brooks, like you trying to figure out, like,
Defender.
do I put Amen at the point and just say fuck it?
Yeah.
Right? Just, you know, come downhill. If not, you know, be a smarter Westbrook. Because he's not gonna be chucking a whole bunch of threes. No. Like he's gonna play to his strength, and that's at my point. Or do I put him in at the three? Like there's some real value in trying to figure out what this lineup is. But I do know.
But you gotta figure that.
Amen.
Jalen Green
and Sangoon are. You three motherfuckers just sit somewhere and then let me figure out who's gonna help you guys.
But that's what I'm saying. When I said I trust Sangoon and Amen and Dillon Brooks, the reason I didn't name Green is because he's not consistent yet. He got to clean up some stuff, but he is a bona fide. Yeah. He's bona fide.
He's the one who's going to put the people in the seats.
Yeah.
In there.
Only 23 years old.
That's what I said. It's a young team, man. They still got.
Green
they still got
get the
three
in between.
Now there's like 3 more years, man.
He shoot the 3-yard dunk. He got to get the in between.
So before we get to Mostly Fans, Ryan, I got a question for you.